Hello, good morning, and you're welcome. It's a newspaper review here on Thav TV. My name is William Sabule, and we're reaching you live from the city of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. What we do here is we bring you the headlines from our local and national dailies here in Nigeria. And of course, we have some of these headlines discussed here on the program. But for you to participate and drop your comments and reaction, you will need to follow us on our social media platforms. First, by subscribing here on YouTube and turning on the notification key to always get notified whenever we come online. And of course, we are also on Facebook as Thav TV. On Instagram is Thav TV underscore NG. On Twitter is at Thav TV. And here on YouTube, you know what to do. Well, let's go straight to taking the headlines this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, we begin this morning with the Vanguard newspaper for today, the second day of February 2022. Right, the big headline here on Vanguard says, higher oil prices driving subsidy cost to 3.5 trillion naira. Landing costs going to 394 naira per liter. That's quite a lot, from less than 360 naira. Right, so to get details of that headline, it's on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Other headlines here on the Vanguard newspaper reads, let's take this one. It says 2023, Atiku, Saraki, Tambuwal, other northern aspirants must jettison ambition. Clark. That story is on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. So, and then we take this one lastly. It says, insecurity, kidnappers on rampage in Kaduna, Katsina, Ondo, Ekiti, Abia. Right, so if you need to get details of all that story, you need to pick a copy of the Vanguard newspaper and run to those pages I mentioned earlier for you to get details of that story. Next, we take on News Direct. News Direct for today, the second day of February 2022. And the big headline here on News Direct says, federal government launches 62 billion naira trust fund to fight HIV. Spends $6.2 billion in 17 years as Buhari promises to prioritize killer disease, public health emergencies. Dangote charges private sector to partner federal government on 50-50 basis. So if you need to get details of that story, you run to page 3 of News Direct. There you find the story in full details. All right, other headlines here. We'll go to this one. It says, APC governors lobbying Buhari to reject amendment electoral bill, PDP lawmakers. So that's what they're saying. APC governors lobbying Buhari to reject amendment electoral bill. Next, we move away from News Direct. We go to the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune, the headliner here says, Clark to Atiku, Saraki, Tambuwal, don't run. Clark to Atiku, Saraki, Tambuwal, don't run. North has ruled for 45 out of Nigeria's 61 years of independence, he says. I will make my attention known soon. Atiku. Sorry, I'll take that again. I will make my intention known soon. That story is on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. We also see on the Nigerian Tribune, I will honor agreement with ASU, Buhari. That's on page 28. I will honor agreement with ASU. And then we also see here on the Nigerian Tribune, we see where it says, ritual killings. Ifa doesn't support use of human parts for wealth. Traditional worshippers. Okay, and then lastly, I take this one. It says, banditry. 1,192 people killed in Kaduna in 2021. Report. That story is on page 16 of the Nigerian Tribune. Next, we go to the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust newspaper for today, the second day of February 2022. The headliner here says, governors, lawmakers clash over new clauses. Written consent for consensus sends jitters to governors. Orders. PDP lawmakers want Buhari to sign bill immediately. Experts differ on presidential assent. That is the headliner here on Daily Trust newspaper. Then we take this one too. It says, Nigeria lost 1.6 trillion naira to oil theft in 9 months. Elumelu speaking right there. And then right there at the bottom page of the Daily Trust newspaper, we see bandits killed 1,192 kidnapped 3,348 in Kaduna in 2021. El-Rufai urges federal government to create theater command in Northwest. Northern traditional rulers raise five-man committee to tackle insecurity. Nigeria among 8 world's top kidnapping hotspots. Of uh, Gumi, Emir of Gumi speaking there. All right, that's how we take on the Daily Trust newspaper. Next, I go to Daily Sun newspaper. Here, we start from the top. It says Olubadan. Court dismisses suit, invalidates elevation of high chiefs to all bars. And then the big headline here says, pressure mounts on Buhari to sign electoral bill into law. PDP senators, reps lead PAC, Ohaneze, MBF, TMG orders insist time is now. Bill to increase minimum educational qualification for president. Lawmakers scale first hurdle. All right, so that story is the big story here on the Daily Sun newspaper. While we take other headlines here from the Daily Sun, we see 4.2 trillion naira debt service, economy in real crisis, laments Lawan. All right, so if you need to get details of those stories, do well to pick a copy of the Daily Sun newspaper and read up the story. Next, we go to the Punch newspaper. All right, the Punch newspaper here, we'll start with a big headline here. It says, marketers, labor warn as federal government pushes refineries repairs to Buhari's successor. That's an interesting one. Marketers, labor warn as federal government pushes refinery repairs to Buhari's successor. That's on page 2. Under that, we also see subsidy removal until refineries are working under next government. Subsidy removal until refineries are working under next government. Silver, without repairing refineries, fuel price hike imminent, say marketers. Fault policies. All right, I'll take that again. It says, without repairing refineries, fuel price hike imminent, say marketers. Fault policies. All right, we carry on with other headlines here. We take on this one. It says, Buhari mandates Gambari Ngige Adamu to resolve ASU crisis, begs lecturers. And then this very interesting one here on the Punch newspaper says, Wike dodges questions on presidential ambition, says window still open. That story is on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. So do well to pick a copy and read the details of that story. Lastly, I'm going to take this one from the Punch newspaper. Say, U.S. resumes no interview process for Nigerians seeking visa renewal. So if you need to get all the details of the stories, do well to pick up a copy of the Punch newspaper and read up the story. But you can also do well by reacting to the headlines you've heard so far by dropping your comments on the comment section on any of our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course here on YouTube. Do well to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification key. We'll be right back. Do stay with us. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. We continue the newspaper headlines with Daily Independent newspaper. And the headliner here on Daily Independent newspapers reads, Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022, resist pressure, give assent. PDP, NAS, caucus tells Buhari. Resist pressure, give assent. PDP, NAS, caucus tells Buhari. Asks party to avoid imposition of candidate in 2023. Slams APC for allegedly failing Nigerians. All of that story is the big story here on Daily Independent. Other headlines here on the Daily Independent newspaper is will honor agreement with ASU. Buhari assures, asks union to be cognizant of federal government fiscal pressures. All right. Other headlines here will read, only antiviral drugs will end COVID-19, not vaccines, WHO. And that's on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. All right, next we go to the New Telegraph newspaper. News Telegraph newspaper here says, federal government admits economy in red. Federal government admits economy in red as debt servicing gulp 4.2 trillion naira in 2021. Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio, one of the lowest in the world. Osibanjo reps urge federal government to save for the future. generations. Borrowing for consumption threat to Nigeria's economy, OB. All of that story is on page 26 and 31. Oh, sorry, it's on page 2 and 11 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Let's take on other headlines here on the New Telegraph newspaper. We see Clark urges 2023 presidency. Clark urges Atiku, Saraki, Tambuwal to quit race. That's the same story we've seen in most of the headlines this morning. It's quite a catchy one there. And then we also see Nigeria startups raise $31 million in January. And lastly, I'll take this one still on the New Telegraph newspaper. It says 9 persons kidnapped daily in Kaduna, says El Rafai. All right, that's the much we can take on the newspaper headlines today. But we'll jump into the next part of this program, which is having these headlines discussed and then analyzed here on the newspaper review. Stay with us while we get our guest come on board. Thank you very much. I've been joined now with Mr. Victor Sioku, my regular commentator here. Thank you so much for joining us again today, Mr. Victor. Well, the headlines this morning, very interesting ones, of course. But let's discuss this one. It says, federal government admits economy in red. You can see that they begin to cry out that the economy is in red because they are about to leave office. Now the economy is in red. They want to leave all this backlog of economical issues for the incoming administration. What's your take on all of this?
Okay, it's no big. It's no new news that the economy has been in red. The government of the current dispensation, they failed us. No two ways about that. It's almost 8 years, so they're trying to cook up more excuses. More excuses. Okay. This year we have about $4.2 trillion deficit to pay.
Yeah.
You know what that means? And we can meet up. Trillion, guy.
Not naira, $1 trillion.
$4.2 trillion. And we are owing about $12 trillion. So how do they want to pay the money? Is it through this? Is it through oil and gas?
How many years will it take?
I wonder.
So it's a very disturbing.
And the vice president the other day was also saying that we are not paying enough tax. But even if, to me, economically, he has a point to make. He's making a point because when you come to tax to GDP, IMF have this standard that the developing countries should pay between 15 to 25.
Yeah.
That will help to stabilize economies. But the Nigerian case, our problem has always been these taxes that we are paying. What for? Where our taxes, where are they entering? What are the developments that you are using the monies for? Okay? We already know that the government is running on a high cost. Bring down your cost first, then we can discuss about others. So the points that they are raising that they want to increase, okay, the other day they increased VAT on beverage drinks, carbonated drinks, and they are looking for plenty loopholes, so not just loopholes, plenty opportunities to increase tax.
And they've been doing that. You know, mind you, even though they've jettisoned the oil subsidy removal at the moment, it doesn't mean that they are not looking for means of increasing the price of PMS. That is also in contention at the moment. They're still discussing this. Marketers are saying that, okay, even if you don't remove subsidy, that the price of petrol is still going to go up, and it's just a matter of time before that happens. Okay, but well, we just hope that the federal government will continue to do their best to try and stabilize the economy. Moving away from that, let's go into a bit of politics. We see on the Nigerian Tribune here, the headline there says, Clark to Atiku, Saraki, Tambuwal, don't run. He's basically telling the North, northern contenders, people that are aspiring to run for the 2023 presidential election, not to run. What's your take on that?
Well, the North has ruled for 45 years. The South has ruled for about 20 years. About 20 years. So there's no balance, and you know Nigeria is it's a place where there is disunity. So through leadership, through yeah, through leadership, you can share the unity, make everybody feel among. Okay, so those are his points. He feels that the North has ruled plenty of times, so why don't you allow the South to rule? And he also pointed out to the Sarakis, the Atikus, they were the ones that were against Jonathan. And you know, Clark and Jonathan are 5 and 6, more like a godfather to Jonathan. So it was like, see, guys, you need to forget about this, forget about your quest for presidency. The South has to take this chance. But my question is, the so-called Southern politicians, who do you think is fit to take this mantle?
That's a very good question, because I think the likely presence will be, we also have Governor Wike that is also shying away from making his intention as to what he wants to do with 2023. But we know that, you know, the questions have been thrown to him. What is the intention as regards 2023? We also have Rotimi Chibuike Amechi, who has recently or is about to get a chieftaincy title from Daura. so these guys,
politics everywhere,
yes,
guys.
Yes. These guys seem to be the figureheads as regards the pursuit for 2023 presidential position, and we don't know what the clear intentions for the Southerners are. Do you have any response to that? Like, do you think we have a credible hand to actually run? Because Goodluck Jonathan is also in the picture, even though he's been asked to forget it and just stick with his past glory and all of that.
But not with the PDP. The insinuations are like he will move to the APC.
Yes.
But it still boils down to the fact that APC and PDP, they are all the same. Okay, and it's I do not understand why they will just be cross-carpeting like it's normal.
That's a normal thing in Nigerian politics. You see that happen every time. And for someone like Atiku, I foresee that if the PDP does not give him ticket, he's going to cross-carpet. He's going to go to another party to want to
know him for that.
It. So that's a common thing in Nigerian politics. But for someone like Goodluck Jonathan, do you see him coming out to run?
No, I really do not see him, because from the South, many persons have seen him as somebody that failed in the South when he got the opportunity. So why come back now? Why come back now when we need to try some other persons? But that also gives room to people like Rochas to come out. Rochas declared the other day that
he did.
And before you know it, I think same day or the following day, EFCC came for him.
They came out, they slammed him with a huge sum of money as fraud. So there's a lot going on, and 2023 is going to be a very interesting political year.
Yes, of course.
And we're beginning to see some of this drama unfold. More is going to even unfold more. And then with this call from Clark saying that these guys from the North should jettison their ambition to run, I'm waiting to get the response from the North.
But do you know, one crazy part of this whole thing is that we don't hear anything from the youth. Does it mean that the youth aren't ready for this, or is it too powerful, or have we all lost hope? Okay, it freaks me out. Although Mr. Bello of Kogi State, is acting up like a youth.
He keeps claiming that he's a youth, but Bello has been in the corridors of power for as long as I can remember. You know, and if you have been there all this while that we've had different kinds of administration that has further deepened our suffering as Nigerians, then what is it that you're going to do differently now? So for people like that have been in government and are claiming, so I'm youth, I want to run, and people should give me a chance, I don't think they mean well. I don't think they mean well. We need fresh minds. We need people that are new in the scene, that we know that can drive Nigeria to promised land. But for now, that is not happening. That is not happening, and it's quite sad. It's really very disappointing. Well, Mr. Victor, do you have any headline you would like to talk more on?
Okay, I would like to talk about the recent news that Nigerian startup as a whole, that they were able to raise $31 million just in January. And we are just talking about our fathers, our grandfathers talking about ruling the country, when you have the young brains out there trying to make an impact, they are trying to the IT industry, they are really the pushers of this economy, if you ask me. So why is it that the government, they do not really care about the youth? They are just about themselves, talking about what elephant projects, because that's, oh my God,
projects that they don't get to finish. Yes, they don't achieve.
Elephant projects. Go to Imo State, you see abandoned buildings that Governor left behind. And he said that the next government should go and finish those buildings. Some buildings that you do not roof, some you roof them, you do not plaster them, you just erase the building, and that's why EFCC, they are all up over him, because most of those projects are elephant projects, and he can't they can't properly account for the money that they spent for those projects. So it freaks me out. Please, they should put in more eyes, try and encourage the youth. The IT of this country is growing, and they should please give them all the enabling resources.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Victor, for your comments. And for our viewers, that's the much we can take today on the Newspaper Review segment here on Thav TV. My name is William Sabule. You can also join us by participating and dropping your comments on the comment section on any of our social media handles. But don't forget to subscribe here on our YouTube channel. Click on that subscribe button, turn your notification key to always get notified whenever we come online. Till I see you next time, stay well and stay safe.